live stream this as well. So you can watch the replay on YouTube. And let's go ahead and get that set up. A little bit slow today, so thank you again for joining. Thank you so much for being part of our genius community. Okay, there we go. Okay, perfect. So we are playing that. That's good. Now, a couple of things I want to share with you. And every week I'm updating the potato rice pasta plan, and I want to share with you something also about that. And let's see if I can finagle this here. So here's a link for you that you can utilize. Let's go ahead and put this in the chat. Hello, thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Cheryl. I'm glad you're here. That's our wonderful guest for today. So thank you so much, Betsy. Thank you, Debbie. Debbie, I'm so glad you're here. All right, so we've got an updated version of this that you can check out and see. And let's see what else we have here for you. We can share this. This is a Google Doc in case you want to take this and put your branding on it. I mean, do give credit to that I put this together, but if you want to give this to your patients and you want to put your branding on it, you're actually welcome to do that. This diet is the core. It's the most important thing that I learned as a naturopath about nutrition, and I want to share that with you. My feeling for this is that if you can, here's a Google Doc in case you want to add your branding to it, just maybe give me credit somewhere. I learned this from Dr. Ariel Policano. The reason I want to share this so widely is it will mesh so well. If you get somebody on the potato rice pasta plan and you give them biofeedback and you give them some affirmations and you pray for them, maybe 1 to 2 minutes a day, you send them a prayer. Just, sending them love, setting them the intention for their healing, affirming that they can restore their health. I mean, if you do all those things together, I know you're going to walk on water. You're going to do amazing things with your clients. And it's just taken me a long time to kind of put the pieces together. And I really want to share that information with you. So we've got the plan there. And then we're going to talk about it in class. We're going to do a new case today. And then I want to invite you to see if we can do this. So in practitioner hour, this is what we do each and every time that we get together. And just have a little trouble just pulling this all together. Oh, I'm so sorry about my microphone. Let me go ahead and grab this. It's going to make the sound, I think, sound a lot better. Okay, sorry about that. I was probably sounding like I was far away. Let me bring this up here. Again, there's some downloads in the chat, and we're going to go over our case in just a moment. Let me just go ahead and share this in just a second and see if I can find this. All right, so we get the link. Fantastic. All right. So what I want to do is the potato rice pasta plan, I'm giving it out to all of our clients, giving it to our clients, giving it to you, your dedicated practitioner. But I want to go further than that. I'd like you to be able to experience this plan and really dive into it in more detail. Like, I really want you to understand the physiological underpinnings of this, because it is so misexplained in our popular culture where everybody is a health guru, and there's a lot of tremendous misinformation. For example, let me just see who's joining us today. Thank you so much for being here. We really, really appreciate it. Okay, Jennifer is not with us today, but Jennifer is Tony's wife, who was one of the folks that joined us, and he's following the potato rice pasta plan, which is great. And she's trying to follow it too. But the truth is that at some point, if you don't understand the physiology behind this, you're going to be led astray. And, one of the things, that they told me was that, they're worried about Tony getting prostate cancer. That was obvious from when we talked about that's public knowledge. And so what can we do to take the best care of the prostate? And she said, well, one thing we do is fish oil, because fish oil helps to suppress inflammation. And while fish oil does help to suppress inflammation because of the nature of the oils, the omega-3s, the DHA, when it suppresses the inflammation, it also suppresses your immune system, just as a result of it being, that's what it's doing. So the suppression of the lowering of inflammation your inflammatory response is part of your immune response. So not only that, but there was a study that looked at men who took fish oil, and it increased their risk of prostate cancer significantly. Additionally to that, we know that these fish oils thin the blood. Some people like that because they feel like it's heart friendly to thin the blood. However, the problem is that, if, God forbid, kind of a thing, you get into an accident or something, you get injured. What if you don't clot fast enough because you were taking this fish oil and you didn't realize it was thinning your blood, and now it's hard to clot? So I want to talk to you about these issues in more detail. If you really understand the physiology, your body doesn't really need very much protein. It's been marketed to you again and again and again as something that you should worship, something that you should absolutely never be without. And unfortunately, it's like self-poisoning. Like it's a marketing way, unbeknownst to you, to get you to poison yourself. So all those foods that you eat, you put a burden on your kidney, you put a burden on your liver, you put a burden on your vascular system. So anyway, for those who are interested, I want to really explore this in the best physiological way I can explain it. And so I want to invite you to learn about this way of eating, adopting it in real time together so that you can get the support of myself, answering your questions, answering the questions your family might be asking you, and also that we get to do it together to give each other support. And you get over 6 weeks to see how you're changing. So we're going to do this for 6 Wednesdays. There's going to be one in the beginning of April where I'm going to be away, so we're going to skip that week, but it'll be 6 classes total. It'll be very easy to take in this information if you want to join us, because what I'm going to do is approximately a half hour to 40-minute lecture. Then I'm going to answer questions, and then we're going to work on food. So you get recipes. I'm going to explain how to make things, how to use these different appliances, the Instant Pot. So it's really a far-reaching class where you can really get into it experientially with us live. So if it's, you've been looking at this plan and you're like, well, it's kind of interesting, but why does she say don't do olive oil? If you want to learn about that and really get the physiological underpinnings, then please become a part of this course. So let's just find out a few more pieces of information about this. You're going to get all the support that you need. You're going to get recipes. We'll have new recipes each week. You're going to be able to lose weight, reduce your cholesterol, and improve your digestion. And then you'll be able to confidently teach this plan to other people. Let's go ahead and give people the link to this. So for 6 weeks, for all that you get for education, the handouts, being able to go back and watch it, the recipes, the support, I'd love for you to join us. It's just $197 for the course, so it's extremely very, very good value. We're going to start it on March 6th, so please, sign up so you can join us. And what we want to ask is the question, could high fat be the main promoter of cancer? Does fish oil harm more than it heals? And one thing that's really important that's going to blow your mind is that this kind of way of eating has been proven and studied. There's a study that I'll show you to really help people with autoimmune conditions. And people with autoimmune conditions are often so sensitive to dairy and cheese and different products like that, their body is responding to it. Well, your body responds to proteins. So the autoimmune condition is the body attacking itself, and it's attacking its own proteins. Well, if there are proteins that you put into your body that look similar to different types of antigens that the body would react to, then it may react to the food and then cause a molecular mimicry where the body starts to react to tissue. So some of these foods actually trigger an autoimmune response, for which many people are told there's no cure for their autoimmune disease. It will just continue to progress, whether it's multiple sclerosis or lupus or rheumatoid arthritis. And just by removing these foods, which most people have never been told, never been informed, it can be really life-changing. So I'd love to have you join the class. We're going to understand how this way of eating heals. We're going to go through what protein does, what fats do, what carbohydrates do, what carbohydrates break down. When you have this knowledge, it will change your life and you'll become sort of invincible, because you realize that you've really been fooled by a lot of propaganda and a lot of marketing. But if you had the knowledge, physiological underpinnings, you wouldn't be fooled. So you're also going to have time to ask questions because people have tons of questions. B12, iron, calcium, all those crazy questions. You have the opportunity to ask them. And we're going to do recipes for breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert. This way of eating, which we'll talk all about this, and I'll mention it again today, is one where you can eat ad libitum, which means you can eat all the food and be satisfied because you're really satisfying the true hunger of your body, which is not for fat and not for protein. It's really for starch. Okay, so please, please join us for that. The link is there in the chat, and you can check it out. You can read about it. You can ask questions about it. You can email me, but I tried to just keep the price super low. I'd love to get as many people involved as possible and have you join us for this. So I'm really excited to share this information with you. Now I want to invite our guest for today. So we're going to be talking with Cheryl today about some health concerns that she has. So this is something where this is practitioner hour and everybody gets to experience this. This is more like a wellness consultation, but I am going to recommend some things. Both you're going to see the libraries that I use, and I want to come up with a little bit fillable form because I think it'd be, maybe I'll just bring up a pages sheet and we'll just sort of write down the libraries that we're going to utilize so we can get a game plan. One thing you can inquire about if you don't have a lot of the libraries that I'm showing and you want to just have all the libraries at your fingertips, please send a message to Ariel at geniusbiofeedback.com. We do have a way for you to get all the libraries in an upgrade form at a very reduced price, something like 50 to 70% off when you do an upgrade to our Master Elite Plus, where you get all the libraries that we currently have, which is over 1,300 libraries. So you do get some credit for the genius that you already have. So it's really an amazing deal. So be in touch with us if an upgrade is something that you might be interested in. Because sometimes when you're watching, you might be like, oh, I don't have that library, I don't have that library. So if you just want to have all of them at your fingertips, you may want to avail yourself to this. So with that in mind, let's see if we've got Cheryl to bring up here, and we can talk with her a little bit about her concerns. And I'm going to get my trusty genius ready here. And we'll go ahead and remove all of this for a moment. We'll just have this. I'm going to check out your questions, things that you're asking in just a moment. And okay, well, Cheryl, how are you? You might not have your, do you have your sound? It's a little choppy. I can hear you now. Do you have a dedicated microphone? You might have to get a little closer to your computer if not, because a little bit sounds like you're
in a tin can.
Hard to hear you. It's a little high pitched, but anyway, well, I'm sure we'll get by. Why don't you tell us how you're doing today?
I'm doing pretty good today, actually. And I'm glad you're doing that course because I do have a ton of questions about rice, pasta, and potatoes. Because when you talk to people about it, even my husband, he looks at me like I'm crazy.
I love it. When people find out, it's like remember in The Wizard of Oz when the Wicked Witch was dead and everybody got real excited? You can actually eat pasta, rice, and potatoes. And it's really interesting the way that the world is, that we're really discouraged in so many ways from eating the very foods that we need the most to have energy and health. And so I can't wait to share that information with you. And then you can share it with your husband. So that's very, very exciting. Well, Cheryl, how long have you had your genius now for?
Well, I think I got it I think it was 2017, Ariel.
Yeah, it's been a while. You're one of our long-term, esteemed members of our community. You're really with us from the beginning. So welcome and thank you for being part of our community.
Thank you. I love the genius. I find it fascinating. You did the class the other day on the flower essences, and those things are dead on. When the flower essence on point, when you run that, it's really just amazing how accurate it is.
It's fun because it takes those two pieces, the meridians and the flower essences, and combines them into this powerful frequency. And then you read it for that person. And it's like, wow. And that knowledge for people when they're being, acknowledged and you're telling them something true about themselves, they feel so understood. And just in being understood, you do heal a lot. Just it's like when you go to a therapist and the therapist always says, you know, it sounds like it's this, and this. You go, yes, that's what I was experiencing. And it's so nice to be acknowledged and understood.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, Cheryl, I have your information here, and it says here you'd like to work on your lungs and your thyroid. So tell us a little bit about that. Well, actually, I'll give you a moment to think about it so you can, tell us the whole story. But before I do that, let me go ahead and record your voice.
Okay.
I'll start recording in 3, 2, 1. I'm recording.
AEIOU, Cheryl Goodling. AEIOU, AEIOU.
Very good. Very well done. Excellent. Now, Cheryl, are you also involved in Young Living? You also do essential oils?
Mm-hmm.
And if
Yeah,
you,
I've been with Young Living since 1995.
oh, it's amazing. You're like a
Yeah.
pioneer and you're out in front. You must recognize the things that are going to be very important and you're sort of drawn to them.
Well, yeah, and I know, they always, so many people think you're a fanatic, because you use Young Living. We're kind of like they call us a cult. And I'm not.
Let me stop you for a minute so we
That
feel
was
like we have a
one.
good picture. Let me just stop you
Yeah.
for a minute so you get a good picture. So go ahead and smile. Yeah, that way it's a little bit better. That's much better. Yeah, well, but you were just out in front of it, like you knew about essential oils and the power of essential oils in 1990, like way before a lot of other people understood how important they were.
Yeah, it was crazy. I met a lady on the plane shortly after that. She was from England. And she told me, and England is pretty advanced in the things that they do, even sometimes before here. And she told me she could not find the quality of oils in England like Young Living.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is
And
amazing that Gary Young, that he made it available to a worldwide audience. That's pretty admirable.
it is. It is.
Let me just make sure we record a backup to the YouTube. So let me just go ahead and record this. Okay, so go ahead and tell us the story about your lungs and asthma.
Well, I started with my lungs in when I was 18, and I went to the doctor because I would have, like, it was like when I got sick, I would have issues with breathing. I struggled. And I went to a doctor and he told me you have spasmodic asthma. So it can be brought on by exercise or, colds, the flu, things like that. Well, it just got progressively worse as I've gotten older.
So do you take an inhaler or any type of medication?
Yeah, I take one every day. It was Advair. I don't know what I'm going to take now because, of course, my insurance company says, "Oh, we're not covering that anymore." And but I only take it once a day. It was always prescribed twice a day, but I only take it once because I hate taking medications because I know how detrimental. And I've been taking this stuff for so many years now. It's got to be about 20 years. And I do have another inhaler for if I have an attack, to open me up quickly. Which of course I don't use that.
Do you actually currently do you experience any attacks?
Sometimes.
When you say
Sometimes,
sometimes,
like if I'm under stress, if I'm
okay.
under a lot of stress, I
Mm-hmm.
can have trouble with breathing. Luckily, with being sick lately, it hasn't affected it,
Mm-hmm.
which is good.
When you
So
say being sick, when you get like a cough or a cold, does it tend to develop into a bronchitis?
sometimes it can go right to my lungs, and I have to do a steroid to open me up. But it
Okay, I
doesn't happen
understand.
all the time, which is interesting. So it was back when last time that happened was back when COVID first started. And I started having issues with my lungs. I could feel that they were obviously needing a steroid. They wanted to test me for COVID, but I said, no, it's not COVID. I don't have COVID. I know this. I mean, I know my body. So, yeah, and the steroid then opened me up. So that was the last time that's happened. And that was like, I think, what, 2020.
Okay, gotcha. Now, what was happening when you were 18 years old?
I was going to college and I became very depressed at school. And I stopped going to classes. And I think the stress was probably the fact that my father would be getting my report card and see that I was going to have all incompletes in my classes. And I
Okay,
think,
so when you maybe were in the 12th grade, you were feeling depressed, you were feeling stressed.
well, most of my life, Ariel, I've had depression.
Depression, okay.
Yeah, a low grade
Depression when
depression.
you were, but depression when you were 18 was so profound that actually affected your grades.
Yes. You know, I was going to a college that my father chose for me. It wasn't the one I wanted to go to.
Was that when you were 18 or you were about to
Yeah,
start it?
I was 18. He wanted me to be a
Okay.
dentist. And I'm like, I don't want to be a dentist. And yeah, there was just a whole lot of things, there was a lot of control in my life and most of my
So
through
your
my
father,
childhood.
was your father more the one who exerted control?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Because my,
okay.
my mother passed away when I was 14.
Oh, I'm
So
so sorry. Okay.
that's okay. That's okay. I mean, it's going to be 50
So
years this year, which blows me away.
yeah, that is amazing. And also, but so then your father was really after that, really took over as the person who's sort of raising you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so he was controlling, you felt depressed because it seems like something must have come to a head maybe at 18. Does it seem like that to you?
Um, I think my independence, wanting my true independence.
No, I understand. What did you do after high school?
Well, when I only went to the one semester, and then I went home for Christmas. And then after Christmas, I left home and I went to stay at my grandmother's house. And I ended up getting a job at a place where I lived in a city. I grew up in a smaller town. 30 minutes away was a bigger town, wasn't that big, but it was bigger. And I don't know, I worked for Channel Lock. They made tools.
Okay. And did you get along well with your grandmother?
Yes, my grandmother and I got along very well.
So after college, you just went to work.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't, I mean, sorry, after high school, you went to work instead of going to college.
Yeah.
Okay. And you enjoyed that.
Well, I only lasted 4 months in that job.
Okay.
So I jumped around and did a whole lot of jobs, I just
Okay.
kind of thing.
Okay. So let's go ahead and we'll ask our group to put ideas into the chat about what libraries we should utilize. And let's go ahead and take a look at, so what I do is I'm not familiar with every drug and what it does. And one thing that was really nice that was in naturopathic college, so we go to a medical college similar to becoming a doctor, we learn all of the anatomy, physiology, immunology, microbiology, physical exams, reading labs, and so forth. But we spend more time learning about physiology because we don't have to spend a lot of time learning about drug interactions, because that's not the main therapeutic that we use. But we do understand about some of the basics of pharmacology. And so I can always do research. So it says Advair is basically this product is used to control and prevent symptoms, wheezing and shortness of breath caused by asthma or ongoing lung disease. It contains two medications, fluticasone and salmeterol. Fluticasone it belongs to a class of drugs known as corticosteroids. So corticosteroids, so did you know this about that there's a corticosteroid in there?
Yes.
Okay. So corticosteroids will suppress the immune system. So the inflammatory response that would bring on the asthma attack becomes completely quelled by the corticosteroid. But of course, when you suppress the immune system, that could have other effects, but it's understood. You don't use this, but you do take it every day, right?
Once a day. Yeah.
Once a day. Okay. So salmeterol belongs to a class of drugs known as long-acting beta agonists. It works by relaxing the muscles around the airways so that they open up and you can breathe more easily. Controlling the symptoms of breathing problems can decrease time lost from work or school. Okay, that's important. However, combination inhaled corticosteroid and long-acting beta agonists, such as this product, do not increase the risk of serious asthma-related breathing problems, so on and so forth. And okay, so we've got the basics of what it is. It's a corticosteroid and a beta agonist, which acts to open up the lungs. So I'm curious, have you ever tried to, and I'm not suggesting it now, but what has happened when you've ever gone off the medication, or have you ever tried that?
Yes, I try all the time.
Okay.
One time I went, I think I went for just about, I don't know, several months. But then all of a sudden, then I had trouble breathing. So I try, and it seems like the most I can do is 3 days. And then all of a sudden I can just feel myself closing up.
Okay. I gotcha. Okay. So let's spend some time just really focusing on the respiratory system. Is that okay if we really spend the session focusing on respiratory?
Yes, you know why, Ariel? Because if you look down there, I believe it's this one that tells you that it will cause a thyroid problem.
Oh, it causes hypothyroidism as a result. That's really interesting.
Isn't it?
Oh, let's see what else. How to use so what do you use? You use the inhaler or you take it as a capsule?
It's an inhaler. It's an
inhaler. Okay.
And of course, they tell you to rinse your mouth after you use it.
Yeah, to prevent dry mouth.
Rinse your mouth.
To prevent dry mouth, hoarseness, and oral yeast infections from developing, you have to gargle and rinse your mouth with water and spit it out. You know what I'm curious is there removing the drug, is there some type of a withdrawal? Or let's say you were healthy and you wanted to remove the drug, would you have some type of a lung reaction just by virtue of the fact that you're trying to get off of the drug?
It probably is. I mean, my body's had it for so many years, right? Even though they wanted me to take it twice a day and I only take it once a day, I mean, it's still in my system and it still builds up.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay, we're sort of putting all of the pieces together. It does say if you're regularly taking a different corticosteroid, okay, it just says you may not. Some conditions may worsen when the drug is suddenly stopped. So yeah, wow, if you suddenly stop taking the drug, you may have withdrawal symptoms, weakness, weight loss, nausea, muscle pain, headache, tiredness. Has anybody ever talked to you about how you would ever cycle off the drug, or was it just a given that you're going to take this and you're going to take it for the rest of your life?
Yeah, that's their way.
That's
every drug you take
for
the rest of your life. It's like, I don't buy that. I think that's,
I think what
thyroid medicine, and I'm like, no, because they're like, you're going to take it for the rest of your life, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to take it, and I haven't taken any.
I think we should, come up with a plan for you, and then think about the possibilities. If we get you, on the food plan successfully, and we get you on, I'll recommend probably a few supplements or herbs in addition, get you on the affirmations, get you on the genius frequencies. We should be thinking, the possibility of just even talking to the doctor and saying, what if I was to feel well enough to cycle off of this, how would that be done? And I think it's impingent upon the doctor to at least explain how you could successfully wean yourself off the drug. Is that something that you would want to do at some point?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Obviously, we're not doing it today, but just, we need to know how to safely do it so that it's even a possibility. Do you
I
agree?
agree. I agree.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. So let's see what ideas the people have about libraries. Root cause, breakthrough to success, asthma, lung, and respiratory panels. I think that's a really good idea from Christine. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for joining us today. And Tammy says the root cause and a detox for lung and detox 10-week. Yeah, there's a library there for lung and lymph. Let me see if I can get a piece of paper up here so we can sort of write some of these things down. All right, so those are great ideas. And do you run some frequencies from any of these libraries already for yourself?
Yes, I run what usually I look what mostly I run. I have to say I run what comes up, and then I'll like
Mhm.
run some libraries for that.
Okay, no, I
Um,
completely understand. Um, we do have natural remedies to, strengthen the lungs, and there are different types of herbs that are really good for, for the respiratory tract. I'm gonna have to think about some of them. Um, So let me give you that's some thought and some research as we're going to get ready to do your plan. Have you tried any natural remedies to kind of build up the body so that asthma would kind of not be an issue?
well, I started on the cell salts. I
Which
got
one?
inspired
Okay,
again.
which one are you using then?
Um, I'm using the ones that are good for because it's when I learned the cell salts, it's from the when you're born. So I was born in July, so I'm a Cancer. And according to what they say, the months that you weren't in the body developing, you are lacking those cell salts, and your body needs those cell salts. So I was taking the cell salts that come after my birthday. So
Got it. Which one was
right,
it in particular?
um, hold on, I got the chart here. Got this really cool chart. If you can see it.
Uh-huh.
So I take Calclur because they say you should take the one that you were born in, the month you were born in. And then it's Mag Foss, Ali and Nat Foss.
Nat Foss. Okay. Let me just write that
Yes.
down. Okay. Okay, very interesting. So we'll see what comes up. So really great. So thank you, Laura Lee. Really great ideas. That's the fourth and fifth chakra, lung meridian 4 and 5. Okay, I understand. The chakras, the noges, and the solfeggios. I got it. And Wendy is saying Kali mirror. So Kali mirror might be more appropriate for the asthma related system. So, I think of it like, how are we going to build up the lungs and build up the nervous system in such a way that it doesn't, that the maybe times when you're stressed and adrenaline is flowing, and somebody did say adrenals, yeah, we got that one, that your lungs are supported, that they don't go into a reactive place. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
All right, well,
The
let's look
other
at,
thought,
go right ahead.
the other thought I had, Ariel, was parasites.
Uh-huh.
Because parasites, are really a fungus.
Uh-huh.
And I felt that maybe it was actually parasitic in the lungs, was a thought.
I mean, have you done like a sort of a parasite cleanse, black walnut, cloves, things like that?
Well, was doing the Young Living one, and it caused an issue that I couldn't breathe. I had to stop and take, I probably should have kept using it, but I had to do a steroid.
Oh,
And then
wow.
it was pointed out to me that it was probably the dying off of the parasites
Mm-hmm.
that could have caused that problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
They off gas as they die.
All right, it's not the number one thing that comes to mind for me, but I'm going to think
Okay.
about that. I'm thinking about really, things that are going to nourish and strengthen the lungs, some herbal remedies that would build up the lungs, and then, of course, frequencies that we can use in combination with the food plan. Also, just a few things, a few important questions is that I go through, and I'll try to get a list of these for everybody so that you know what I go through during a case, is tell us a little bit about your sleep. Do you fall asleep easily?
Most times, yes. Most
Okay.
times, yes. I fall asleep within at least 15 minutes from laying down.
Oh, that's wonderful. Good for you. That's a very good sign. And what time are you typically going to sleep?
Anywhere between 9:30 and 10.
That's like the ideal time to go to bed. That's really, really good. And then do you wake up in the middle of the night at all?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about that. What time?
Usually, well, I always look at the clock because I'm always thinking of the body clock in the Chinese medicine to see what time it is. A lot of times it's 3.
Okay, that's so funny. That's exactly what I talked about on the Monday class, right? So
Yep.
Monday, waking up at 3 a.m. is weak lung qi.
Yeah. I heard that, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
a lot of times I do wake up around 1.
One, okay.
I can wake
After
up at
1.
1.
Have you tried any yogic breathing or just working on really any type of breathing exercises to really just go at it and strengthen the lungs? Or do you get concerned when you do yogic breathing that it might trigger something?
No, I haven't really done it, but I've often thought about it, that it probably would be beneficial.
Yeah, I think building up the strength of your lungs and there's certain exercises that are going to stretch the lungs, build it up, increase the capacity, increase the that how much oxygen that you can get. This is called oxygen saturation. Have you had any lung function tests done?
Yeah, long time ago I did.
And what was the result? Were they found
And
to be in the normal range?
yeah, actually, the last time I got one of those little oxygen sensor things,
Uh-huh.
and I was fine, which was crazy. But that was during I was just that bout that was running around here with the flu and whatever, I don't know, COVID as they were calling it, which I don't believe it's COVID, but whatever it is that was going around really hit me hard.
Okay.
And so they were like, test your lungs. So I got one of those little sensors and I was fine.
All right, let me think about that a little bit. Okay. Now, how would you just, so what time do you wake up in the morning?
Usually around 6.
6 a.m. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
you sleep from about 9:30 to 6, and do you wake up feeling rested?
Not always.
Okay, so when you wake up, you still feel like you'd like to go back to sleep, or you feel kind of groggy, brain fog? How do you feel?
Yeah, I just feel like I would like to go back to sleep, but those days I don't go back to sleep.
Oh, it's
You know,
probably better to just try to
get
soldier
up.
through it. Okay. And in the morning, do you have any caffeinated beverages?
Yes, I love coffee. I did stop for a year and a half and I missed it. I come from a long line of coffee drinkers.
Okay, that's all right. That's totally fine. And what do you, that's no, that's totally fine. And what do you have for breakfast?
It varies. I can have oatmeal. I do bacon and eggs, which or just eggs. Sometimes I'll have, if I have leftover, I love soba noodles, and I make a soba noodle soup
Well, that
with
sounds good.
vegetables. Yeah, it's very easy. It's very good. Sometimes I'll eat that for breakfast because it just appeals to me. Of course, I've made omelets. I've always liked a variety of foods.
Gotcha. Okay, great. And then when you start your day or during your day, is there any type of movement or exercise?
No, I don't really do a lot of exercise.
Is that because you're concerned about the asthma?
No, no,
What
I just my energy level has really dropped a
in what
lot.
time frame? In what time
Um,
frame?
I'm going to say within the last, I would say since about 2020, obviously.
Okay.
Around
So
there, I just,
so at this point you don't feel enough energy to exercise.
yes,
Okay. Are you open to some supplement recommendations?
yes,
Okay, one of the most important things for health and wellness is to have some type of movement, but at this point, you feel like even doing like a 20-minute or 30-minute walk in the morning, at this point, it feels like it's not possible.
Um, I might be able to do a 20-minute.
Mm-hmm.
I probably walk in the house. I live where there's no sidewalks,
Mm-hmm.
and the people around here drive like crazy, so I'm not fond of
Okay.
walking on the road.
Okay. If it would you get like you can get treadmills on Amazon for relatively inexpensive, maybe a few $100. Is that something you'd be willing to do?
Maybe. I don't have
Okay.
much
I like
space, so I'd
maybe.
have to
I like
see. Yeah.
maybe. Maybe isn't no. Maybe is I'm kind of open to the concept. But when we live in a place that's really freezing cold or there's no sidewalks, we have to think, the movement of the body is incredibly important for the lymphatic system, for the immune system, for keeping our bodies trim and things like that, for our cardiovascular system. Our cardiovascular system has to be conditioned, or else if we don't use it, we lose it. And the state of your heart is deeply connected to the health of your lungs. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. And how much water would you say that you drink during the day?
Well, that's not really good. I'm lucky. I mean, I really work at doing 8, but I very rarely get 8 glasses.
Okay.
I'll say maybe like 4,
Okay.
half
Okay.
of that. Yeah.
Okay. No problem at all. And what's a typical lunch for you?
Um, well, it could be a sandwich. Um,
What would be in the sandwich?
terrible lunch meat. That's and of course I love cheese. I swear I was a rat in my last life.
Okay. So it'd be like cheese and ham or something like that.
Yes, uh-huh.
Okay. Got it.
Roast
Okay.
beef,
Got it.
chicken, turkey.
Okay. Got it. Totally got that. Okay. And then do you have anything between lunch and dinner?
Not usually, because I've been doing like mostly 2 meals. We were doing paleo
Uh-huh.
for a while, just meat and vegetables. I love vegetables. And of course,
Fantastic.
paleo was touted as the way to do it. And I did. I lost like 20 pounds. And then the moment well, then I miss rice. And
Well,
because I
because
love rice. And
rice is a basic food that you really need, that really nourishes your body. That would be, and if we were just focused on the rice and not any of those other foods are the ones that become problematic, that cause us to gain weight, that compromise our cardiovascular health, our heart health, and may be contributing to the propensity to have the asthma.
it could be. I mean, food is everything. We know that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's look at some of these libraries. And we had somebody recommended the Wim Hof breathing. Have you ever heard of Wim Hof?
Yeah, that's the guy who goes into the water, that freezing water.
Yeah, exactly. Let's look at some of these frequencies as well. This is under asthma assessment. And so it says there's a past life imprint. And that's, I know, a little bit off the beaten path, but sometimes we were asphyxiated in a past life, or, choked or something. And some of that can be part of the equation, believe it or not. Cytokines are inflammatory substances. Tuberculinic miasm, the basic miasms, there were some tuberculosis would cause lung problems, and it can be handed down through the family line. And sometimes we're picking up the miasm or the inherited susceptibility. So you might have an inherited susceptibility for the lungs to be problem. That's like your weakest link. Leukotrienes are inflammatory substances, interleukin 8. And so we're seeing signs of inflammation. Airway smooth muscle DNA activation, meaning that particular frequency is to heal the smooth muscle airway that can contract and close up in asthma. Interleukins, these are all inflammation. A fungal allergy, so maybe we're just in our mind, we're just thinking a little bit about fungus, that when we don't fully digest our food, then if we don't 100% digest it, if we have a very complex diet or maybe not the healthiest diet, then that food doesn't break down completely and it leaves sort of a feeding ground for fungus. So maybe something like that. Lung surfactant optimized. So the lung surfactant helps the alveoli to expand and contract. So that's now being optimized, or needs to be optimized. And so we go down to the blues: vagus nerve imbalance, dietary root cause. Well, we're talking about that. Histamine is sort of a inflammatory substance that can, be in the gut that might make allergies or asthma worse. Mold exposure, rhinovirus contributing cause, gluten allergy contributing cause, hormonal root cause, and clear mucus. So when there's, we also don't digest our food or there's waste, metabolic waste in the intestines, then it can be shown in the body as mucus. And when you often clean up your diet and you avoid, especially dairy products, all of a sudden the mucus will become much, much less. And it's because it's just really hard to break down different types of dairy products. They're very, very difficult between the lactose and the casein for the body to break down. Let's go ahead and look at asthma solutions. And there's an herb, Asclepias tuberosa. That's an herb that's good for the lungs. Also tussilago. This is really good for chronic coughs or when you're sick and you have a cough. This tuss, you know the word
Pertussin.
Robitussin.
Yeah,
Robitussin, yeah, it has that word in there, which is from the root word of tussilago. So honey, and today I was thinking about how great it is to have ginger and lemon and honey anytime you have a cough. It really works well. And also manuka honey is great for the immune system. Essential fatty acids, ma wang, that's really interesting. Have you ever worked with a Chinese medicine practitioner for any type of herbs? Looked at that as a solution for asthma?
No, but I took years ago, there was a group called Changes, and they had a weight loss called Thermolift, and it had Mawang in it. That was amazing.
You have to be very careful with Mawang because it's a stimulant. But the purpose of Mawang, when it's used in a formulation by a practitioner just for the lungs, is to open up the lungs, right? Because of the it has a sympathetic effect, and so yeah, it acts like a stimulant, and it can be very dangerous when used like in a weight loss supplement or not used in the proper formulation.
Well, I love that. It worked great. Of course, they took it off the market because some baseball player they claimed died from that. Whether that was true or not, I think it just worked too well, and it was going against big pharma there.
But were you using it for weight loss or were you using it for your lungs?
I used it for weight loss.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, boswellia, lobelia, cherry bark, these are all for lungs. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put those into the tray as well. Then we're going to go down here. We had some more comments here. Lungs is for grief, perhaps mom passing was, what were your thoughts? I mean, my goodness, this had to be something that, what are your thoughts about what happened in your childhood?
It was very interesting. We had just moved from New Jersey, and I was, I guess, about 10 years old. And we moved out to Pennsylvania, closer to my mom's mom, who I got along with very well, my grandmother. And shortly after we moved, my father was in a major accident that he flatlined like 3 times on the way to the hospital. And when he woke up, he was in a coma for 2 weeks. And then when he woke up, he didn't know how to walk, talk, none of that. So he had to be retrained.
Oh my goodness. This is a lot for a teenager to take in.
Yeah. And he literally had major brain damage.
Oh my God.
It brought out a violent streak in him.
Whoa, that's scary.
Yeah. So after that, when he finally was able to go back to work and stuff, my mom was told she had cancer of the liver.
Oh my God.
And so we had 3 years of that until she passed away.
So this really started when you were like 11 or something.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh my gosh. How do you feel like how would you explain your feelings, what you were going through, looking at all of, people getting sick, and what were you experiencing at that time?
It was, well, a lot of times it was, I lived on eggshells, because I never knew what I would say or do that might make my father flip. One time he nearly choked me to death. And my mom was there. She was still alive, and she was able to get him off me. I don't know how she did.
So,
So yeah, so when she passed away, there was a lot. I mean, obviously, she's your mother, and it was horrible. It was really a blessing. God love her because she was a skeleton. And but yeah, there was a lot. I think there was a lot of fear, Ariel, about being at home with my father and just not knowing what how he would react to things, because it could be something simple. I mean, we could be driving in the car and I could say something and he would just punch me in the mouth, and
so
those kinds of things.
he had a real physical or emotional problem dealing with, he must have had a lot of emotional issues of his own that were not dealt with in his lifetime.
Yes, which when I got older and in my, doing my studies, and you realize, and then you heard things about his life, and his life was horrible with his mother. So yeah, it's almost like all the stuff that he repressed, it just came more to the forefront, like the his anger, some of the violence that his mother was against him, and it's such a terrible circle that gets, or patterns. It's kind of sad in our ancestry, and hopefully I've broken that. I hope so. But
How did you end up at your grandmother's?
I just went there. I went there.
And
I left
did you,
home. I packed up my stuff, and I just moved there.
so did your father try to pursue you and get you back?
No, he wouldn't go there, which is kind of
Wow.
funny. He would, because my grandmother would probably just tell him, you just get along, get out of here. So, yeah, he never came there.
Wow, that's really interesting. So you had this incredible ability to survive and to know the things that you needed to do to take care of yourself. Like that's really commendable. Other people might have stayed with, with an abusive person. So, kudos to you for doing something to take good care of yourself.
Well, thank you.
And it sounds like your grandmother was a really nice support.
She was. She was a good
All right, I'm just trying to find the emotional anatomy, which is releasing trapped emotions. All right. I allow myself to release wounds from the alpha state. Alpha state would be in the state of focus. I allow deep relaxation and time to meditate. Have you ever tried any meditation?
Yes.
Did it resonate?
Yes, it
Helpful?
does.
Oh,
It
that's good.
does
All
when
right,
I do it. And when I can really get my mind to stop, because I have a mind that just really does not like to stop. I think too much.
okay, you're in your head a lot. And what is your profession? What have you gone on? What has been your career?
Well, I've done a lot of different things, but I got my massage license back in 1995, and I did that part time a lot, while I did other things. I worked in insurance, and but for the last how many years now? I left insurance in 2011, and I've been doing massage and body work, energy work since then.
Okay. Okay, so you're a healer. That's wonderful. That's good. What do you think about feet issues? Do you have any issues of the feet?
Sometimes they bother me.
Okay, because this one says I'm now able to heal and release any bunions.
Well, I don't think I have a bunion.
Okay, maybe something on the feet related to the experience of lack of joy in my daily life. I now notice all the wonderful things I'm experiencing.
Well, that's very true, because I would say um, the lack of joy has been huge lately. These last few
Mm.
years, the lack of joy.
Mm.
I actually kind of get ticked off about things that are happening, because I'm like, this is not how it's supposed to be in my old age.
You mean the state of the world?
Yeah, like this isn't how it was supposed to be. It's like, so yeah, I
I've
think,
often had that thought. I kind of feel like we signed the agreement. The agreement said the earth is going to turn into a utopia and a wonderful place of healing and joy for people. But still
right.
could happen, and maybe it
Oh,
is
I think it
happening.
will. I think it will. I don't know how easy it's going to be till we get there, but I think it absolutely is going to come.
This is an interesting one that's coming up here. I like your optimism. It says, I now release any imbalances in my hormonal system that may be rooted in violation of my personal space at some point in my life.
Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah, maybe we should even just put this one up here and we'll do a separate playlist to include this and a few other important frequencies. There's another part of this. Let's see if we can see it in Entangled Insights. So it said, I now release any imbalances in my hormonal system that may be rooted in violation of my personal space at some point in my life. I now heal the wound and claim my personal space. All right, well, let's go ahead and also include some of the other ones that were recommended here. Let's include some adrenals. I'm going to actually just use adaptogens. So this is a great library just filled with wonderful adaptogens. And so this is all the energy of the solutions, American ginseng, cordyceps. I have in mind for you a special adaptogenic formula from Dragon Herbs. So I'm going to, of course, summarize it, but if you've ever been to the Dragon Herbs website, they do really have excellent formulations by the gentleman, at least he used to do the formulations, Ron Teagarden. And I find that they're quality herbs and they're quite effective. So a combination of some adaptogens, and also I'm going to be thinking about some herbs for the lungs. So I'll let you know about that. And the other one, we just wanted to look at quickly root cause, and then we'll do flower essences on meridian point, since that's one that you resonate with. So oxygen perfusion to the cells is deficient. So it's more telling us that, yeah, we need to strengthen those lungs. Gout, although you might not experience the pain of gout, there might be some excess uric acid from the diet, which is the breakdown of more complex or rich proteins. Leaky gut contributing to the root cause. So we can definitely, with the food plan, we can definitely clean that up very, very effectively. A root canal. Have you ever had a root canal?
Yes.
Okay, so it's saying the root canal is infected. Do you know any biological dentists in your area?
Yes, I do.
They may be able to just use a light or ozone. I would go to my biological dentist from time to time and actually get ozone injected into the area around the tooth that I was concerned about. And that seemed to do a world of good. So that might be something that your dentist might be able to do.
Okay.
Sometimes it's good just to do that for the root canals, since they have the greatest propensity to get infected. We don't know about it because the nerve is missing. And so that could be just like sort of protective care from time to time. It's not very expensive to have an injection of ozone into the tooth. Lymphatic stagnation due to lack of stretching is contributing to the root cause. So a little bit of walking movement can really help with that. Liver toxicity, that's very interesting. So let's not do all of them, but let's go down and look at some of them down below at the bottom. Autoimmune. Do you have Hashimoto's or just hypothyroidism?
I think it's just hypo.
Okay. Well, look at it. It does say parasite infection is part of the root cause. So
Yeah.
isn't that interesting?
Yeah, well, anybody who has pets, they say we should be doing parasite cleanses, at least a couple times.
And it says here, I'm coughing, bronchi compromised due to infection. That's really interesting. Vaccination effects are contributing. I'm assuming that's from childhood. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to see which of these is the most important in just a moment. And let's go ahead and we'll look at that flower essences on point, just for fun here. And then we'll sort of begin to wrap everything up. So what I'll do is I'm going to create your plan, and then I will share the plan with everybody at the next session, what you're doing. And then we'll have you come back in 2 weeks to find out how you're doing. Would that be okay?
That would be great.
Okay, fantastic. So let's go ahead. The flower essences on meridian point. So let's go ahead and get them in here, and let's put them into Progressive Insights. I like to use Progressive Insights as a way to sort and sift through a large amount of information to see if we can come up with something at the very, very top that will give us a new insight. And it says actually you have some gallstones, which may be quiescent, which you may not be aware of. But when you switch to this food plan, you can start to break down those stones and actually not have them. But the way that the food plan is right now would definitely be contributing to gallstones, which, that's, not good for the part of your body that might have the stones, and it's not good because it might prevent you from digesting fat properly and so forth. Leaky gut. I'm just going to skip some things that might not be related to the case, but let's see if we can find some things that are.
I do have
So,
one question for you, Ariel, on the
yeah.
gallbladder, because my
Mhm.
gallbladder was taken out a long time ago because of stones. It was so big. So will it still create? Could it be stones that actually in the liver then?
Yeah, I mean, they talk about, Andreas Mertz talked about intrahepatic stones, like stones that could be even in between the two lobes of the liver, although generally they would be formed in the gallbladder in the little pouch. But when they take the gallbladder off, they leave a little part of the gallbladder where the gallbladder connected in that little tube. So part of that is left, and it's like a little mini gallbladder, and maybe some
Okay.
stones have built up. It's really just due to the foods. So the foods that
Right.
you've mentioned that you do eat, I know you like them, but they do tend to cause stones. And this can be almost completely eliminated where the body will start to break them down. There are some supplements you can use to help this, but switching over to this way of eating will really help to reduce them and for them never to become problematic. And it's interesting, they don't tell anybody about any type of dietary intervention, when they're removing your gallbladder. And I remember a long time ago, a friend, I was in the hospital, she had the gallbladder removed, and they served her a Salisbury steak, like TV dinner after the procedure. And I just thought, my God, this is what caused the stones in the first place. And they just have not a clue about any type of dietary, at least at that time they didn't, any dietary intervention that would be helpful. That's what caused the problem in the first place. Okay, just wanted to see what the meridian on point was here. So let me just go ahead and see what we've got here. So it says oak on kidney 1. Oak on kidney 1. Let's see what the book says. Oak is usually, I think, exhaustion, and kidney 1 is that really primary jing point. I know we're running a little bit over time. We are going to be sort of sewing everything up with a lovely bow in just a moment. Oak flower essences. Oh, that's not the exhaustion one. What's weighed down? Okay, weighed down by duty and responsibility. Oh, it is exhaustion. A typical sign of this condition is ignoring exhaustion and using your will to push the body beyond its limits. Using oak enables your body to let go and surrender. Any resonance there?
Yeah. Absolutely.
As you release your personal will, like as we surrender, we're always searching for that space of surrender, every single person. You activate a wellspring of energy that raises you up out of gravity. The ability to envision future possibilities is restored as you enter the river of life that is flowing unimpeded towards your destiny, sort of like the Abraham Hicks, sort of the downstream, nothing that you want is upstream. And then kidney 1, bubbling spring, is the first point. It seemed like it's one that's well known in the Young Living community for applying oils right on the bottom of the foot. Is the first point on the kidney meridian located on the soles of both of the feet. Connecting to this point, you experience a strong upward rushing of energy that really help your energy overall, that floods the body with a renewed sense of joy. There's the joy part that we came up in the session. Isn't that interesting? Bubbling spring, a major wellspring point, is the energy gateway that revitalizes the entire spectrum of your body, mind, and spirit, and supports your ability to manifest this essential nature in the world. So it sounds very, very positive, but it really does suggest that working on the whole adrenal adaptogen point continues to be very, very important, that you are kind of in a state of depletion to some degree.
Right. Makes sense.
Okay.
Because I feel that way. Like a lot of my life force has dissipated.
Joanne,
and I'm not that old.
Yeah, so we want to support you. We want to give you more energy. So I'm really thinking about a plan that's going to support the building up of the lungs, building up of the lung chi, the kidney meridian, and we're going to look at a few other things. We're going to do a couple of playlists. So a little bit more time here. I want to add some other things to the playlist. And So I'd like to see the plan as well. We're going to bring the plan to you next week, so you can join us next week to see what I came up with for the plan in terms of supplements and affirmations. And Joanne says, no worries here, I could listen to the class all night. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for such a great contribution, people sharing such great ideas. We really appreciate it. So what I wanted to do here was take some of the key elements, and this would be something that'd be interesting if it could be integrated better with the Genius, that you could kind of just pick up a few frequencies that you want to add to another tray, because I'm going to have to write them down and then we don't know where to look for them. So that's a little bit problematic. Let me think about how I could actually, if there's any easy way to do this. I was thinking about this today, that we may need to ask the developer to note the library that the frequency came from. I think I'm just going to send that suggestion to him. So when we have a library that we see in the main hold tray in Progressive Insights, we're really going to need maybe in parentheses the source of the library that it came from. That way we can find it and utilize it for other purposes. What do you think about that, Cheryl?
That's would be helpful, because that's many times something comes up and I go, I think that, like, well, what library was that in? Then you have to go back and search.
Yeah, I think it's like an obvious one now that I'm looking at it. So one thing that comes up here is the stress that I felt at the time of my trauma, I am now able to release from my cells. It served me at one time, but it is no longer needed. That's really pretty profound for you, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and do you have your email for your Quanta capsule?
Yes.
First, let me do this. So everybody, if you have a client that maybe already has a Quanta capsule, this is an important point, is we're going to go to the Quanta memberships first, and we're going to basically add her to my database here. So it's, okay, thank you so much for doing that. So we have to do the little search bar here, and let me see if I can do this from Bluetooth. That is one thing that's nice about Apple. I was just able to do that from my computer to my iPad. Okay, perfect. So add the member, and then you'll get a notification that you've been added. And now when we do that, it's much easier because I can go back and name the playlist. So let's go here, and then we go to the Progressive Insights. I'm going to, what should we do here? I'll go ahead and I'll do all the items, and then I'll do just the high items. I like to send the client the high items, but I also want them to have the benefit if they want to take advantage of all of them. So I'm going to go ahead and send that now by exporting it to the capsule. And now all I have to do is just go to my members and then select her here instead of typing it in again. So that's very, very easy. And then we're going to go ahead and export that. And wow, I release any imbalances in my digestive system that may be related to feeling bitter. I'm now able to release events of the past. What do you think of that one?
Wow. Yeah. You know,
All right.
there are a lot of times you think you've handled things, and then something comes up and you realize there's still some residue.
It's so true. We go through it in layers, just peeling the layers, and we're never the same. We process a piece of it, and then we're definitely transformed. We're never the same. So there is progress, but it comes back, and then we process it in a new way, and then we become a new person. We become something different, and then we process it a little bit more. So it happens, I think, in pieces. So now we go to the playlist, and now we can see the playlist that we sent to her. So let's see if it comes up. So there's that playlist, and she hasn't imported it yet. So we're just going to name it, all frequencies. I'm probably going to spelling it wrong here. Frequencies. And let's do it. So hang on, bear with me just for 1 second. There we go. All right, so Feb 27 session. Okay, fantastic. So there's all the frequencies. Now, another obvious one would be that when you're exporting it, you could actually play name the playlist when you do the export. That would also be something very, you guys can also send this to the developer and he can think you're the one who came up with that. So feel free to send a bug report or a suggestion to the developer about that. So now, sorry, we don't go here. We go back to here, and now we're going to go to the high items, and we're going to do an export again. So we just export, and then add members, select her, and then go back here. So now we're ready. So now if she just wants to run a few items, the most important ones, she could do it from the Quanta capsule. She can choose which playlist that she wants to utilize. And then we go back to her, we go to the playlist, and then we bring it up and we rename it. So there we go. And it's high items. And then be good to have a separate keyboard, but I don't, so just bear with me. Feb 27th, and she'll get it. She'll get it. That is okay. Okay, so now she has a choice that she can do either one. She can redeem those. She can see what's contained in there, run them, etc. Let's go ahead and see what the ending aura. Your initial aura was really amazing.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
are you actually applying essential oils on a daily basis?
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah, it's it really, I think it's all of that is showing in your aura. I mean, that's so purple, that's so high vibration, and it looks really, really good. I guess let's go ahead and hide the avatar as well. So we've got some third chakra power issues going on, but lots and lots of openness in those upper chakras. So that was the one before. So let's go ahead and see what's happened since we've run the frequencies. Go ahead and see that, see what the post aura is. Yeah, lovely and vibrant, definitely, says Callie. It's looking really good. And let's see what happens after we run the frequencies. How does the aura look? So I will get the plan together for you. Wow, you're really very fascinating. This is one of the most interesting before and after. We may have to share this with the greater community. Let's go ahead and look at it here. So I think, you know, you're so open to the information. I feel like when we were talking and you were sort of taking it in, that you are actually doing a lot of healing with your heart, you know, with your heart involved. And you really see that with all the green coming in. It looks really, really good. And you've got pink that's going to be in the crown chakra. So a lot of the ways that you heal may be like connecting to the divine, connecting to spirit. That may be your greatest, bringing in your greatest ability to heal yourself. What are your thoughts?
Well, I just got tingles when you said that because I've really been wanting to focus on my heart and opening it more, Ariel.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And being more connected to the universe, God, however you want to say it. I mean, I personally believe in God and I call him the universe or great spirit, but
sure.
Yeah, more of that.
I think that that's really wonderful. And I think it's what this is showing us is that will be very effective for you because all of that green energy coming in and all that openness in the crown chakra is sort of confirming that that approach will bear a lot of fruit for you. So what we had this really powerful affirmation. So if you find a really powerful affirmation for your client, you can sort of highlight it with a single playlist. And what I would probably do is just add a few things. Nope, we don't want to do that. Just to the playlist itself. I just want to close the playlist here. And so you could bring in things like maybe the solfeggios, right? Maybe, so first of all, obviously 528 is really important. And 639 is always like about, you know, improving communication, relationships, that can be good. But 417 is for past trauma. So you can include all of those along with the actual affirmation. So you have these three energies along with the affirmation. And then you could also export that as like a sort of a really short playlist for the client to focus on. And you could include other really great affirmations as well. So it's just an idea. So let's just go ahead and do that.
That's a wonderful idea. Yeah,
it's nice because it just gives you something sort of short to focus on. And you could do all manner of that. You could have a few of them. You could have the Monday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it is. But that's just really nice because it allows somebody just that singular focus. And sometimes people can get overwhelmed with a lot of frequencies, and now you can really focus on that affirmation. So you go back to the playlist and you could just name it like, affirmations or short list or something like that. So
I actually thought it would be a wonderful idea if he did a neuro remedy on the Quanta capsule.
No, you can export a neuro remedy to the Quanta capsule.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, he changed that. That was a suggestion from a lot of people. Yep. So you can go to the neuro remedy and you can create a neuro remedy and then you can export it to the capsule. It's
well, is it true that it's better in their own voice, Ariel, the neuro remedies?
Yeah, you want them to speak it in their own voice, correct?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's right down here, so you can export it to the Quanta capsule. You have to just so you just do that and then you export it. All right, let me sum up everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up with a plan for you. We're going to send it to you probably by the end of tomorrow. Then we'll share that with the group next week, and then we'll hear from how you're doing in 2 weeks. How do you feel about that?
That's great, Ariel. I can't thank you enough. This is really wonderful.
It's been really a pleasure. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you volunteered, and I'm excited to hear how your progress goes.
Me too.
All right. I'll let you go here, and we'll talk to you soon. All right. Thank you. And I just wanted to remind everybody to consider joining the course, which is going to be all about the potato rice pasta. And I think you'll experience a tremendous amount of transformation and also just a whole bunch of like aha moments, like, oh my gosh, you're kidding me. Just even like fish oil being so suppressive to the immune system or causing bleeding. And you can just see how we've sort of been really tricked to, we're ingesting like things that are going to harm us willfully because we've been given information that's not supportive, information that really is not accurate. And so it'll be really fun to be able to see that for yourself, to really understand why that's happening. So let me just go ahead and link that again into the chat if you want to join us for that, starting on Wednesday, March 6th, around this time of day. And of course, it'll be recorded in case you can't join us live. So that will always something available. And then you can go back and look at it. So I think you'll get a lot out of just really understanding, even in this, in our practitioner hour, about why, we're actually doing this food plan. When you understand the underpinnings of it, then that's, really, really powerful. And you can explain it. What I really want you to be able to do is use it in your practice. Because when you use it in your practice, then you'll be able to help people in such a profound way. When you get people off of those foods that are really making them sick, and it's probably one of the biggest root causes of their issue, but it's not everything. I mean, there's still, you can be eating a healthy diet and still have issues, but like 60 to 70% or more of those things will disappear when they follow that food plan. And then you give them some affirmations, power of prayer, the genius frequencies, and you'll have a line out the door wanting to see you and, wanting to get help from you. So that's what I really want to impart to you. All right. Thanks everybody for your excellent comments. I really appreciate it. We'll of course be back next week, and we're working with Rhonda for next week. But if you would still like, we still have some spots open after that. So be sure to contact me, Ariel at geniusbiofeedback.com, in case you want to be part of our practitioner hour. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody. Thank you again for all that you do for others. I will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye for now.